The dramatic crossing of the sea under Moses is recorded in the book of Exodus, primarily in chapter 14. It stands as one of the most defining moments in the Hebrew Bible, a fleeing population trapped between water and an advancing army, and a path opening where none seemed possible. Whether understood as a supernatural miracle, a divinely guided natural event, or a theological narrative shaped by memory and faith, the text itself provides specific details that deserve close attention. The setting follows the 10 plagues that struck Egypt. After the death of the firstborn, Pharaoh allowed the Israelites to leave. According to Exodus, about 600,000 men on foot departed, not counting women and children, along with livestock. The text portrays a large migration. However, the Hebrew term eleth, often translated as thousand, can also mean clan or military unit, leading some scholars to suggest the number may represent a smaller, organized group rather than millions of individuals. The exact size of the group remains debated, but the narrative emphasizes a significant departure. Soon after letting them go, Pharaoh changes his mind. He gathers 600 chosen chariots and other Egyptian forces to pursue the Israelites. Chariots were the elite military technology of the late Bronze Age, fast, maneuverable, and devastating against infantry in open terrain. The Israelites, encamped near the sea, find themselves trapped between the water and the advancing army. Panic spreads. The people accuse Moses of leading them to die in the wilderness. Moses responds with a statement that becomes central to the theology of the story. Do not be afraid. Stand firm, and you will see the deliverance of the Lord. The text then describes a series of actions. The angel of God and the pillar of cloud that had been guiding Israel move behind them, forming a barrier between the Egyptian and Israelite camps. Darkness covers one side while light remains on the other, preventing contact through the night. Then comes the crucial moment. Moses stretches out his hand over the sea. The text says that the Lord drives the sea back by a strong east wind all night, turning the sea into dry land and dividing the waters. The Israelites go into the midst of the sea on dry ground, with walls of water on their right and left. Several details are important here. First, the Hebrew term used for the body of water, Yam Suf, often translated Red Sea, but more literally, meaning Sea of Reeds. This has led to debate about the precise location. Some scholars propose shallow lakes or marshy regions in the eastern Nile, Delta or northern Sinai, rather than the deep waters of the modern Red Sea. The Bible itself does not provide exact coordinates, and the route of the Exodus remains uncertain archaeologically. Second, the mention of a strong east wind blowing all night introduces a possible natural mechanism. Modern scientific modeling has shown that sustained winds over shallow water can create a phenomenon known as wind set-down, temporarily pushing water back and exposing land. In 2010, computer simulations demonstrated that certain wind conditions could theoretically create a land bridge in a lagoon-like environment. However, this does not settle the question. The biblical account presents the timing and scale of the event as extraordinary and directly connected to divine action. As the Israelites cross, the Egyptians pursue them into the sea. The text states that the Lord throws the Egyptian forces into confusion. The wheels of their chariots clog or come off, making driving difficult. As morning approaches, Moses stretches out his hand again, and the waters return to their place. The Egyptian army is overwhelmed. Not one of them survives, according to the narrative. Following the crossing, Exodus 15 records a poetic song known as the Song of the Sea. This is widely regarded by scholars as one of the oldest poetic sections in the Hebrew Bible. Its archaic language suggests that the memory of the event, whether interpreted historically or liturgically, was preserved in song long before the final form of the text was written. The song celebrates deliverance and portrays the event as a decisive defeat of Egyptian power. From a historical standpoint, direct archaeological evidence of the crossing itself has not been found. Egyptian records do not describe such a defeat, though ancient royal inscriptions rarely documented military losses. Some scholars argue that the Exodus story may preserve a memory of a smaller-scale escape or conflict that later became central to Israel's identity. Others maintain that the absence of evidence does not invalidate the possibility of an event that left limited material trace in a desert environment. Theologically, the crossing represents more than an escape. It marks the transformation of a group of former slaves into a free people. The sea functions symbolically as chaos and death, and passing through it signifies new life. In later biblical literature, this moment becomes foundational. The prophets and Psalms repeatedly refer back to it as proof of God's power and faithfulness. So was it miracle or mystery? The text itself attributes the event directly to divine intervention, while also describing a natural element, a strong wind. It does not present a purely mechanical explanation, nor does it provide a modern scientific framework. Instead, it frames the event as purposeful, timed, and transformative. My personal opinion is that the enduring power of this story lies in its layered nature. Even if one considers possible natural mechanisms, the timing and narrative meaning remain central. The story is not only about water dividing, it is about liberation at the exact moment when hope seemed gone. Whether seen as supernatural intervention or as a divinely orchestrated natural phenomenon, the crossing represents the idea that circumstances that appear impossible can change suddenly and decisively. For me, that combination of historical memory, poetic celebration, and spiritual symbolism is what makes this moment one of the most compelling in all of Scripture.